Ever get a call from someone you thought was gone, and yet they're on the line anyway? Welcome back, horror fans and hopeless phone addicts. Today we're dialing into The Black Phone and its sequel, seeing how the ringing hasn't seemed to stop. The past doesn't just die, and how revenge, yep, revenge is a dish best served cold. So, a quick public service announcement here. If you haven't seen either one of these movies, this video probably will contain spoilers that may ruin it for you. So before you continue beyond this point, please make sure that you've seen both movies. And if you have, let's get into it. Okay, quick rewind. The Black Phone in 2022, we meet Finney Blake, shy, bullied 13-year-old in 1978 Denver. His sister Gwen has psychic dreams, like their mom before her. The kids live with an alcoholic, abusive dad. Their mother, named Hope Blake, died, or so it seemed. Then the villain, the masked kidnapper known only as the Grabber, who snatches kids in a black van with balloons. Finney gets taken, locked in a soundproof basement with a black rotary phone on the wall, supposedly disconnected. But it begins to ring, and the voices on the other end? The Grabber's previous victims, helping Finney piece together an escape plan. Now let's talk about how it holds up. I enjoyed both these films. The Black Phone was a strong horror thriller with a real emotional stakes. The sequel steps it up in scope, so yes, I would absolutely recommend both of them. But no, I wouldn't call them this year's blockbuster event. They're more like a smart cocktail you sip when everyone else is doing shots. They matter, they resonate, but the world may not stop to applaud. I have to say, I was really surprised by the sequel. I felt that reintroducing the Black Phone 2 was going to somehow ruin the original and somehow make a mockery of the second one. It was refreshing to see that in the sequel, it added on to the story and it helped provide the closure that all of the characters were needing. So let's get into the Black Phone 2. So now we flash ahead 4 years. The Black Phone 2 in 2025 opens in 1982. Finney is older, still haunted. Gwen, his sister, is also older, and her psychic ability is way stronger than it was previously. They uncover a new nightmare at a winter Christian youth camp called Alpine Lake. It's snowy, it's isolated, cold, very symbolic. Their mother, yes, Hope Blake, turns out to not have died by suicide as they thought. Instead, she had psychic dreams like Gwen. She worked at Alpine Lake in the past, and she nearly caught the Grabber. And when she got too close to his secret, the Grabber killed her and staged it as a suicide. That revelation is key. Meanwhile, the Grabber is back, not just physically, but spiritually. He's out for revenge because Finney killed him in the first film. Revenge served cold indeed. The icy setting mirrors that perfectly. The phone rings again. Dead payphone, dead victims, dead mom, but very much calling. So Gwen begins having vivid dreams of 3 boys murdered at Alpine Lake in 1957, and these victims are still missing. She receives a call in her dream from her mother, Hope, who during the 1957 camp murders had her own visitors. That triggers Gwen to persuade Finney and Ernesto, brother of Robin, a victim from the first film, to join her on what would be a truly horrifying adventure. So they travel to Alpine Lake, and a snowstorm traps them along with a handful of staff. Armando, the camp supervisor, his niece, Mustang, Kenneth, and Barbara. The Grabber calls them from a dead payphone at camp. He blames Finney for his death and the death of his own brother, Max. So the killer becomes the victim, or at least believes he is. Gwen gets attacked in her dream, and injuries manifest in the real world. The camp's staff are skeptical, but the siblings persist. They discover that the 3 boys' bodies were never found beneath the frozen lake. And finding them is key. Gwen confronts the Grabber, realizing her inherited power. And together, they, with the spirits, send the grabbers evil back down to hell. Then Gwen gets one final call from her mother Hope to say that her gift isn't a curse. All right, so let's get into what really makes these movies hit harder than the grabber's belt: the symbolism. Because if we went into The Black Phone and The Black Phone 2 thinking they were just spooky stories with a supernatural twist, you've missed the real horror hiding underneath and the entire truth of both movies. Let's rewind to the first one. The Black Phone isn't just a kid stuck in a basement with a psycho in a mask. It's about survival through connection. The black rotary phone? It's not just ringing from the grave. It's ringing from the past. Each voice that calls Finney isn't just a ghost. It's a piece of courage, of defiance, of unfinished business. It's trauma speaking back, saying, "Hey, what happened to us doesn't end with us." And speaking of that mask, man, that thing deserves its own Oscar, huh? The grabber's different expressions, happy, sad, blank, aren't random. They show how abusers hide behind faces. He doesn't just wear the mask, he is the mask, switching emotions to manipulate, dominate, and control. It's evil in a costume, quite literally. Then the Black Phone 2 comes along and takes everything we thought we knew and throws it out onto a frozen lake. Gone is the claustrophobic basement. Now it's all about the cold, open silence of winter. But that's not just a setting change. It's symbolism, turned all the way up. Ice freezes everything: bodies, secrets, truth. And when those secrets finally start to thaw, that's when the real horror hits. Now here's where it gets deeper. The family connection. Gwen and Finney find out the truth about their mom, Hope. Yeah, if you remember, her name was Hope. And no, that's not a coincidence. In the first movie, we hear she took her own life. But in Black Phone 2, we learn that's not the truth. She was haunted, literally, by the same darkness stalking her kids. And get this, she almost caught the grabber before he ever became the nightmare we know, which could have saved both of her kids and the experiences that they had. This revolution changes everything. Suddenly, this isn't a fight against one killer, it's a generational battle against inherited trauma. Hope's unfinished fight becomes her kids' mission. They're not just surviving anymore, they're finishing what she started. It's revenge, yeah, but not the hot Hollywood kind. It's revenge served cold. The kind that doesn't come with rage, but rather with purpose. And that frozen lake, it's not just where things end. It's a mirror. It's the literal reflection of everything buried finally being seen. The bodies under the ice, the memories they'd all tried to freeze over, all of it comes up to the surface. That's not just creepy, it's poetic. It's the story saying, you can't bury the truth. It always finds a way to rise. Even the phone takes on a new meaning. In the first film, it's a weapon of survival. In the second, it's something bigger, a bridge. The calls now feel like history reaching out. Trauma demanding resolution. It's not just ghosts anymore. It's legacy, it's family, it's closure calling collect. And finally, the grabber's name. What perfect irony. The guy who took everything from others ends up losing everything. His power, his secrecy, his control. The taker becomes the taken. That's not just justice, that's poetry with teeth. So yeah, both Black Phone films are about fear, sure. But more than that, they're about healing, about facing what's buried, listening to what still echoes, and realizing that sometimes the scariest part of the ghost story isn't the haunting, it's the truth behind it. On your way out the door, remember to hit the like, subscribe, and share buttons. If you'd like to hear more, please comment below if you have any different opinions. We'd love to hear them. And until next time, everybody, have a great night.